Hello, my name is Paul Thompson. I'm the owner of Coffee and Thompson Art Gallery in Charlotte. We have been in business some 65 years, starting back when I first came home from World War II, and started the gallery with a former partner, William Coffey, and we operated for approximately 5 years prior to buying a corner of 5th and College Street, which became our headquarters for many, many years. And moving from there over to 4th Street was a big transition for us. Prior to moving over to 4th Street though, William Coffey and myself chose to go further with picture framing, which it was at that time. He didn't particularly want to go into the gallery business. I was instrumental in wanting to go in the gallery business, and so I wound up buying his portion of the Coffee and Thompson out, and became the sole owner of Coffee and Thompson, and in turn opened the first uptown gallery that Charlotte ever had. That was on the corner of 5th and College Street many, many years ago, of course. We stayed there for a number of years, and then finally Bank of America came to me wanting to buy our corner because they were building more buildings in the area and wanted to buy the entire block. So we eventually sold the corner to Bank of America and moved our headquarters out on 4th Street. We operated out of the 4th Street building as a gallery and framing operation for some 15 years, and at which time I purchased a property was known as the old Dorsey property across the street from where we were, and we eventually moved over to that spot on the corner of 4th and Independence, and operated there until the opportunity came to move here. Central Piedmont Community College came to me and wanted to buy that particular corner, so I sold to them, and we renovated this building here known as the Honey Properties on the corner of Moorhead and South Crown Street. In so doing, Edwin had been with me for about 6 or 7 years at that time, and his work was beginning to show up in all of the homes and offices around in Charlotte, so we felt comfortable in offering Edwin an opportunity to join with us over here as Guild Gallery. And as you can see from some of the pictures maybe you've already had, Edwin has converted this portion of the gallery into headquarters for his Guild art. We're proud of Edwin. He's so creative in what he's doing and has been all along, but his latest venture, this glass art, has really taken the interest of so many people that have had an opportunity to see it. I think he'll be exposing it later on this month to a select few here in Charlotte, and from that time on we're hoping to see a lot of influx of people wanting to acquire quality art that is done here in Charlotte by one of the outstanding artists that we've ever encountered in all of our years of being in business. I don't think we ever had the opportunity to show the kind of art that Edwin does. It was more traditional with us in our gallery all those years. We featured a lot of wildlife artists and international artists as well as national artists throughout the country, but most of it at that time was early American scenes, wildlife art, and like I said, very traditional everything. Barnyard scenes were good, and we did start importing a few oil paintings all from Europe, places like that, along with the national artists that we represented at that time. But we never had an occasion to use Edwin's type of art until he exposed me to it. After he was with us some 4 or 5 years, he came to me one day and said, "Mr. Thompson," says, "could we have a show for my art?" I said, "Edwin," I says, "you do a great job and we're proud of you, but I says, I just don't know that would fly." He said, "Well, why couldn't we try?" I said, "What do you have in mind, Edwin?" He said, "I'd like to do 100 pieces, small pieces, at $100 each." I said, "Well, it's got a pretty good ring to it." I said, "Let's give it a try." And it amazed me when we had the show, within 3 weeks' time, we sold 85 pieces of the 100 that Edwin had created. So it just opened up a whole new door for me in the art business, totally new from what I had experienced in years past, you see. And as Edwin's work began to take hold, more and more of the traditional art began to drop off. And today, Edwin is the feature artist, but not on us, but a lot of people picked up on it. That's the only thing I want in my house. It's very colorful, he's very creative, and he has unlimited amount of knowledge when it comes to color. He knows how to introduce colors to get the feeling that he wants and needs to acquire what he wants to finish up with. And so that's the reason I said we're certainly proud to have him as part of Coffey & Thompson. This new venture that Edwin is into, he is using the old glass that we moved out of the gallery when we moved off of 5th and College Street many years ago now. And I had no place for it, so I stored it in my barn at my home. And I had been in the horse business and given up the horse business when my kids grew up, so I had ample room to store stuff. And we stored the glass in the barn and we just let it sit. And it's been sitting all this time until Edwin found a need for it. So I was tickled to death to get rid of it, and he was tickled to death to have it to create art with. So it worked out good for both of us. I'm eliminating the saw that I use for the barn to sew glass in, and then he in turn can cut it and make it. And it's an art that is, to me, I've never seen anything like it. He's so creative, again, like I said earlier, that he has compiled some of his techniques into using this old glass, and we're just tickled to death to see it come about after all these years. So we're hopefully that the public's going to take hold of that and be appreciative of what Edwin has created in bringing this old glass back to life, so to speak. I feel like it's a wonderful use of the glass. It has no other use to my knowledge at all. It's the type of glass that I would not use in picture framing anymore. It's not the quality of that, but it's ideal to do what Edwin does with it. And when he paints it, if there's a blemish or if there's a streak or something in the old glass that's been there all these years, it doesn't show up anyhow. But it's a wonderful use for that glass that's been sitting around here idle for all these years. And I'm just so proud that he can grab something like that that's been around for so many years and create something like he has created with it. Well, I had no idea where it might go when I sorted out there. I had no use for it anymore. Thinking it might come about, and I'd rather just throw it away at that particular time. It was hard to dispose of glass anyhow. I said, well, we'll just store it out there. But eventually, here comes Edwin, and he got all enthused about this old glass, and I said, well, my goodness. He says, you mind if I have some? I said, help yourself, I'll be glad for you to have it. But what he has created using this glass, I'm amazed, and I'm just so proud of him for having come up with the idea of using the glass, which helps me in the long run because I want to get rid of it anyhow, and it shouldn't go in a dumpster by any means at all, so Edwin has use of all of that glass.